Friday night service call on a walk-in freezer. Ironically, this is the one that I had if you guys have watched my videos, a Friday night service call where the defrost heater shorted out against the refrigeration line. This is actually the new coil that I had replaced it with. The customer called me and said it was all frozen up. You obviously see ice on that side, and then if you look over here, it's frozen up there too a bunch. It's kind of weird how it's just some of it, but anyways, I'm gonna go through it all, figure out what's going on, get it defrosted. So this is my electrical cabinet right here. Open this guy up. Walk-in freezer system G. Time clock right here, system G. It's like we're about to go into a 28-minute defrost right there, so we're gonna go ahead and force it into defrost, and then we'll test the system out, see what it does. Okay, so we're gonna go in to line 1. .200 volts. That's good. Now we're going to go in to line 4. We should see nothing. Well, that's not good. Into line 4. It clicked out a defrost. Let's try that again. Into line 4, nothing. Into line 3, 208, so that's correct. I don't know why I clicked out a defrost. I might have turned it too far. We're gonna let it run and defrost for a minute. To put amp probe on here. See what we've got for amperage. 8.69 seems a little bit low for the amperage. Maybe not though. It's a newer coil. 8 amps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that on there for a few minutes, and I'm going to time this to make sure it doesn't time out. We should be defrosting plenty good in there right now. So, I'm showing you guys this 1,000 times. Create a drip loop and run your line so that way people aren't tripping over it. Keep it out of the customer's way. Thinking about the customer's best interests. Nice and clean, no big giant mess. So the unit ended up timing out a defrost within like 5 minutes, and I had set it for like 70 just to help me defrost the coil. And if you look at it, from my understanding, I was also interested in only one side's iced up. This side has a little bit down at the end, the very end over there, mostly right here. But if you look at this, I think what's going on here, yeah, the limit switch. This is my defrost termination switch, is only on this side of the coil, so that would make sense why it timed out, because there's not ice on that side of the coil. So I'm gonna get it defrosted. I'm gonna let it run in a defrost while I'm taking the fan guards and fan blades and stuff out, and then we'll leave the drain pan attached and hose it from the inside. These ceiling mounted coils always suck because the water gets everywhere, so when you take these out, put the screws back in. Not tight, but just snug them back in so that way water doesn't leak out those holes. And then you could just hose from in here, you know, all the ice away and stuff. So if you look down, this one has just heaters underneath the coil on each side. There's a heater down there. See the two things coming out there, and they just run on the bottom side of the coil. So I've got my amp probe on this one, and I'm reading 4 amps, which makes sense. And then I was reading like 8 amps up there on the roof, so I'll put my amp probe on the other one, and then we'll check that one. And the other one's reading 4 amps. So both of our defrost heaters are working. So that's a good sign. So what I did up on the roof was I just took the X terminal wire off of the X terminal, so that way it would stay in defrost. So it's ignoring the coil temperature at this moment. Okay, so by leaving the heaters running while I was taking the motor guards and the blades off, just let it run that much longer, so I'm making use of the, you know, time to start defrosting that coil. But inevitably I'm going to go up under the roof right now, shut this thing off, pull these motors out, and then defrost it. So So, like I said, I'm going to do it from the inside out. So, we'll go from there. Okay, I just put the fan motors back in. Coil's defrosted. We still got to get down there in the expansion valve section. These center mount coils, ceiling mount coils are very difficult to defrost without making a mess. You got to be very slow. There's little drips here and there. I've got very minimal. This is just frost on the floor, you know, but you want to try to be careful because you don't want to make a mess on these guys. You notice there's just little bits of frost that I couldn't help. So just nice and slow. So I just put the motors back in. I'm going to go ahead and defrost the expansion valve section real quick, and then we'll keep going. It looks like there's still like a little bit of ice on the ceiling. We'll get to that. One thing I want to point out, if you guys have done these ceiling mounted coils, they're a pain in the butt because you can't really defrost from the outside, or at least you didn't used to be able to do that. But Heatcraft changed them. I got to give Heatcraft credit. They improved these coils. You notice there's a lip there now, a pretty large lip, so you can go very slowly with your water hose and spray so long as it doesn't drip over the drain pan. It used to be that the coil came right up to the edge, and so you couldn't defrost it from the outside, but now you can, which is kind of cool. So actually, it looks like I missed a little spot over there, so I'm gonna get that too. So after everything's dripping, that's the little bit of frost that's on the floor. That's really just from it dripping off the ceiling, because I was very, very slow when I was defrosting the coil. But it's all back together. All the defrost heaters are working. Everything's good. Kind of have a theory that it's these boxes right here. I have a feeling that they're stacking them all the way to the ceiling and blocking the airflow from that side of the coil. That, or someone didn't shut off the switch when they did the delivery, and it wouldn't ever defrost that side completely if it froze up solid because of the limit switch being on this side. So we'll see. We'll just tell them to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to spend all night here tonight. So I went ahead and powered the system back on. Set the time on the defrost clock. I don't see a need to put my service gauges on it right now. What I'm actually going to do is come back tomorrow and follow up just to make sure everything's good. The manager kind of told me a story that they found their delivery driver had left all their food outside of the walk-in cooler, propping the door for the freezer and the cooler open on Thursday, and today's Friday. And they actually took a video of it because they thought there was going to be a problem, and then they called me out today saying that it was iced up. So more than likely it was just that. So like I said, I'll follow up tomorrow. I set the time on the defrost clock, and we'll come back tomorrow and see if it has the correct time on it. And that's pretty much it. So it's coming down in temperature. It's going to take some time because it's 25 degrees in here right now, and it's got to get down to -10. So. All right, so this was a walk-in freezer service call. Ironically, like I said in the video, this was the same walk-in freezer that I had the defrost heater blow a hole in the coil. And this was actually the new evaporator coil. Anyways, the unit was frozen up. What I actually found when it was all said and done, we confirmed that the delivery driver the previous day had left the walk-in freezer door open for a couple of hours. They come in, they get their deliveries when they're not in the restaurant. So they call it a key drop delivery. So the delivery driver has a key to the restaurant. So when the restaurant manager arrived at 7:30 a.m., they found that the walk-in freezer was left open along with the walk-in cooler, and all the food was filled in the freezer, the cooler, and propping all the doors open. So that's what we found was the problem and what caused the walk-in freezer to ice up like it did. You notice that I didn't put my service gauges on this unit, okay? It was late on a Friday night. I didn't see the need. I actually ended up going back out the next day. Just confirmed that everything was still working on the system. Threw my service gauges on there. Refrigerant pressures were looking good. I was running a clear sight glass. I pumped down the receiver, confirmed that it was 3/4 of the way full for the headmaster. So everything was good with the refrigerant charge. I had also, in the video, set the time on the time clock before I left, and when I came back out the next day, found that the time clock was holding the correct time. So that confirmed that the defrost clock was also working. Okay, as far as why the coil iced up the way that it did, remember, those evaporator coils are not meant to ice up that much. Okay, that defrost termination switch that's inside that coil is meant to terminate the coil when it when it gets to a certain temperature. And that coil's never, like I said, meant to ice up as much as it did. It's only meant to have normal frost on it, which is normal because of the way how cold we're getting that coil. So it's never really gonna completely melt
that much ice, or the amount of ice that was on it when we went out there. Okay, so that's why. And it was melting the ice on both sides, but it was just so much that it couldn't keep up. Okay, and because the defrost termination sensor was only on one side of the coil, it obviously would melt that side, but then never fully melted the other side. I also think that those boxes that were stacked up alongside the coil have a little bit to do with it. I really can't get mad at the customer because this is a chain restaurant, and every one of the restaurants that I go to, they do the exact same thing. So it's hard for me to run in there and say, that is your problem. Stop doing it. You're doing it all wrong. Because then they're just going to say, well, we do it at every restaurant. How come it's not affecting us there? I don't like it. It's not right, but it is what it is. And there's not really much we can do to eliminate that problem. Okay. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. Pay attention in the show notes, lots of great information, and then also popping up right now are some channels that I recommend you guys check out, subscribe to. These two guys have some great content. And you notice too that I recommend other channels. I kind of rotate around to the different channels that I watch. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that are great. Okay, so give them a shot and let them know what you think. Okay, see you guys on the next one.